What is your favorite verse in the book of Esther in the Megillah? Let me tell you mine, because I see this as such a turning point in the entire story. Most of the characters in the Megillah stay constant throughout the story. Haman, beginning to end, is a wicked, evil individual. Achashverosh is a foolish, wicked, reckless king. Mordechai is the Jewish leader, courageous, full of faith. But Esther is a character that we seem to see a shift in between the beginning and the end of the story. At the beginning of the Megillah, we don't know much about Esther. She's chosen to be queen. She follows Mordechai's instructions. She doesn't seem to be talking much. She seems to be passive. And we fast forward to later in the book, when she goes in front of the king, and she is not in any way just Mordechai's representative, a guided missile to save the Jewish people. Not at all. She uses her ideas, her initiative. She comes up with this plan of fasting for 3 days and getting the rest of the Jews to fast. She decides to invite both Haman and the king to party A, and then realizing the time is not yet right to party B. And after Haman is hung, she again goes and asks to reverse the decree, to get Mordechai put in the proper position, so on and so forth. She is a courageous leader, doing so much on behalf of the Jewish people in such difficult circumstances. So what is that turning point? I believe it's one verse, and it's in the middle of the Megillah when Mordechai is trying to convince his niece to go in front of the king and plead her case. Esther, of course, is afraid of her life and says that if I go in front of the king without being summoned, I could be killed. And Mordechai goes on to tell her a number of reasons why this is the right move, including Umi yoideya im le'es kazois higat lemalchus. Who knows if this is the reason you were chosen to be queen? Mordechai tells Esther, my sweet niece, Esther, Queen Esther, so many hours you have spent wondering what in the world are you doing here? How could it be that beautiful, refined, sweet Esther was chosen to be the wife of this monster, to be in such a difficult circumstances day in and day out? You've wondered it, you've asked it. What am I doing here? Who knows, Esther? This is your moment. And when Esther heard this, this gave her courage. It gave her conviction. It gave her a sense of mission and purpose. She knew why she was doing what she was doing. She knew why she was exactly where she was. And the rest of the Megillah seems like a different Esther. The Kabbalists say that on those words that Mordechai told Esther, Mi Yodeya, who knows, that applies to all of our lives as well, because there are those areas of our lives, and each one of us can reflect on this, that seem to make sense. This is the Yodeya part of our life. Some of us might be in the town, the city that we're living in makes sense. Perhaps the job that we're doing makes sense. Perhaps the children that we have are very much aligned and make sense how those are our children, our spouse, relationships, so on and so forth. But we all know there are also those times in life where we shrug our shoulders and we say, Mi Yodeya, God, me? Really? I'm the wrong person for this job. Me having to go through this particular tzara, this challenge, this obstacle, this situation with a child, the situation in a relationship. Me? Times where we look at the circumstances in our life and it just doesn't seem to fit our personality. This is not the template that we would have imagined for our lives if we were writing the life story. And that's when we have to hear Mordechai's words to us. Mi yodeya, who knows if this is the reason why this is happening? This is part of your mission. This is not an obstacle to your purpose. This is allowing you to fulfill your purpose in the world. And when we live with that sense of mission and purpose, knowing whatever we go through, we are Hashem's ambassador. We are God's shliach and messenger. Like Esther, we can live life with this conviction, looking for opportunities to make a difference, looking for that next mitzvah possibility, having the courage to step up when needed because we know we are exactly where we need to be to make a difference, to our neshamas, to the world, to Hashem. Happy Purim.